die, what happens to us? Well, everyone believes in something different. Some say there's a heaven and hell, others believe in an underworld and a paradise, then some believe in reincarnation, that we were born again in another form. Today, let's take a look at some strange cases in history that might just make you believe in reincarnation. Starting off this countdown, we have the story of Aldanaf. When Aldanaf from Lebanon was only 6 years old, he kept telling his mom that he wanted to be taken back to his old home. He kept saying that he lived in a village 10 miles away from his home. He also insisted that he was not small, that he was big, and said he had many weapons at his old home, including grenades. Fed up about this kid going on and on about this old home, his family decided to take him there. There he met with a woman named Nadia Kadaj, who Aldanaf said was his past wife. As they spoke, Aldanaf knew information about her husband that no one should have known but her and him. He also was able to answer a number of questions correctly, like who built the foundations of their home, the specifics of an accident when she dislocated her shoulder, and an incident with their daughter. Keep in mind that this kid was only 6, and you can't just Google this type of private information. In the end, when Aldanaf was invited to his old home, he went straight to the cupboard. That was the cupboard where her deceased husband kept his weapons, like his grenades. So Aldanaf was the reincarnation of this woman's husband. In our 9th spot today, we have the twins. On the left, we have the founder of the Ferrari company, Enzo Ferrari. Sadly, on August 14th of 1988, he lost his life. The guy on the right is German soccer player, or football player as some people like to call it, Mesut Özil. Look how similar they look. A lot of people think that Ferrari was reincarnated as Özil. Had their death date and birth date not really correlate, people would have been like, oh, they just look alike. But because one died in 1988 and the other was immediately born in 1988, a month later, it makes us wonder. Moving on at number 8, we have the reoccurring dreams. So you're watching this video and now you're thinking to yourself, who was I in my past life? Why can't I remember it like these people? Well, one sign that you are reincarnated can be found in your dreams. In particular, if you have the same reoccurring dream. It might not be a dream, but instead a memory from your past life. Maybe you remember seeing certain people or a certain place or event. Chances are you might have been there in your past life and you actually interacted with those people. There are a number of stories of people having vivid dreams of places they have never been to, but they see the structures there as if they have been there in person. So maybe they have been there, just not in this lifetime. In our 7th spot, we have precognition and retrocognition. Both precognition and retrocognition can be signs that you have had a past life. Precognition is called second or future sight. It makes you know information about future events. Maybe you have visions, or you get this gut feeling that something is going to happen, or you have a dream that something's going to happen. This could be because you're an old soul. You've had multiple life experiences, and now you're in tune with your body and surroundings. Retrocognition is the ability to know information about past events. Not by researching or by asking people, you just know it randomly. Well, that's because your brain is remembering things from the past, because maybe you were there witnessing it firsthand. In our 6th spot, we have the fire chief. Retired fire chief Jeffrey Keane was on vacation in Maryland when all of a sudden he was overcome by emotions. This happened as they were visiting a Civil War battlefield called Sunken Road. Keane said that he felt like he was suffering from a heart attack after getting so overwhelmed by the area. Later, he was reading a Civil War magazine when he found an article about a Civil War general named General Gordon. Instantly, he felt connected to him. Upon researching more into Gordon's life, he found weird connections between them. Like, he had birthmarks on his body similar to wounds that Gordon suffered in war. The eeriest connection is that when Gordon was 30, he was shot in the face. When Keane was 30, he was admitted to the hospital with a terrible pain in his jaw. Coincidence? I think not. Keane now believes that he is the reincarnation of Gordon. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with the identical handwriting. Turns out that our handwriting can also be an identifier of our past lives. Let's take a look at the case with a 6-year-old boy named Tarajit Singh. He claimed that he was the reincarnation of a boy named Satnam Singh, who lost his life while riding his bike home from school. Turns out, the boys had identical handwriting, to the point where a researcher couldn't tell them apart. That was the moment people believed that the kid was telling the truth and that he was reincarnated. In our fourth spot, we have the woman who lived 150 years ago. When 32-year-old Uttara Hudar was a child, she started talking about her past life in a nearby village. As she got older, she was able to speak Bengali fluently, although she never was taught the language. She then started to remember other things, like her past friends and family. Eventually, it was discovered that she once had a life in a village 600 miles from her current home, 150 years earlier. Everything that she mentioned, like her friends and past experiences, ended up lining up, so she wasn't faking it. Also, she had a terrible phobia of snakes. Well, turns out that in her past life, she was bitten by a king cobra on her right toe, hence why she was deathly afraid of them. Which brings us to our next point. Coming in at number 3, we have fears and phobias. What is your biggest fear? Let me know in the comments below. Most people will say that they have a fear of heights or death, I don't know. But what if you have an unusual or irrational fear? Like the fear of flying, fear of choking, the fear of hospitals, I don't know, you get it. Well, maybe that's because in your past life you were involved in some terrible accident related to those fears, or something traumatic happened to you. For example, if you have a fear of flying, maybe in your past life you were involved in a plane crash. If you have a fear of choking, maybe you choked to death on something in your past life. So on and so on. So maybe we develop these fears because of a gut instinct. Your body is trying to protect you from whatever it is that hurt you in your past life. Moving on to number 2, we have the Civil War veteran. According to this Reddit user, a guy they knew remembered his past life as a soldier during the American Civil War. A friend said that for his entire life, he would have this reoccurring dream. In the dream, he was standing in a field, always at the same exact spot, always the same field. During these dreams, he said that he felt as if he was a young boy, and he knew that there was a large group of men behind him. He thought nothing of it until he was on vacation in Gettysburg. That's when he found the place from his dreams. And a strange feeling came flooding in. In his past life, he was a Civil War soldier who fought at the Battle of Gettysburg. And in our number 1 spot, we have Sunny Ray. And this has to be one of the wildest stories I have ever heard. So when this boy was young, he would always point to his father's Rolex watch, and as soon as he could speak, he would say, "Mine." Then one day, he pointed to himself and told his family his name was Sunny and insisted on being called Sunny. A few months later, he said that his name was Sunny Ray. Things kept getting weirder and weirder. He said that his wife's name was Dawn and that they lived together in Texas. Whenever a country or western song played on the radio, he somehow knew the lyrics and would sing along. Keep in mind, he was a kid and typically wasn't exposed to this type of music. Then one day, he pointed to a white spaniel and said, "That's my dog, Willie." The story goes on until the family finally got some answers. When the boy was 7, his parents were running a seminar in Texas. One of the attendees was a woman named Dawn Ray. As they were talking, Dawn told them that she was widowed for 8 years. Her husband's name was Sunny Ray. So this little boy was the reincarnation of Sunny Ray. Not only that, but immediately when the boy met Dawn, he ran towards her and yelled, "Dawn!" He didn't even know who she was, they never met before. And Dawn's dog was a white spaniel named Willie, and Sunny had an expensive Rolex watch identical to the one that the boy's father had. And when he was taken to his old house, he picked up his old guitar and started playing it. This boy had no prior lessons, okay? This is just wild.